King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Broadcasters Podcast. Here is the King of Podcasts.
The landmark episode of the Broadcasters Podcast, episode 300. Thank you for being here. And if any of you would have taken the time to go ahead and listen to all 300 episodes, I doubt it. Even I'm not that egotistic. I'm pretty sure no one has actually listened to, except for myself, all 300 episodes. But if you've gotten even close, gotten to 200, thank you. God bless you. This is my passion project. One of my very much passion projects. I enjoy doing this program on a regular basis. It is the bread and butter of what I talk about. I work in media, and I got to talk about it. So, 300 episodes. What are we going to talk about on the 300th episode? Well, Taylor Swift. Jesus. Yeah. Since August, I guess I have to go ahead and come up and talk about Taylor Swift. I can't help it. I go back and look at the episodes now. And I see, what was it? I had the interview with Lou Pate back on August 9th. And then I did, breaking down Scooter Braun, who, was the one that was managing Taylor Swift. So I had to bring her up then, August 25th. Then I had to go back. And then it was all the TV stuff. And then I also brought up Taylor Swift September 29th because of the Travis Kelce stuff. And listen, I'm not trying to go ahead and go with this on purpose. I'm really not. But I can't help it. It's just, she's in the news and everything. If it's not the football, what happens this week? Okay, well, a couple things. Number one, I see there's new snippets out of Taylor's version of 1989, the album coming out now. So I don't know. It's supposed to be coming up soon. Is it this weekend or next weekend? I forget. She's got that coming up. She's been making her rounds, watching football and going to football games and going out with Taylor Swift. And going out with Travis Kelce, and they're going out public displays of, the guy is a gentleman, the guy is like a stud, every woman now admires and notices that Travis Kelce is in love with this woman. Good for her, good for him. Hey, it looks good. People are going to be all into it. It's so good. Tavis. That's what they're calling it. Like, oh boy, Tavis. That's what they've been calling the couple. So we already got a name for it. It's all there. And, some of those Hollywood gossipers, they just got to enjoy this kind of thing going on. So we got that. And then this past weekend, the Eras Tour. I did not go to the movie theater. By the way, I have not been to the movie theater in 2 weeks. This last Friday and the Friday before because of horror movies. I wasn't going to go to see Friday the 13th horror movies. There was nothing else on the schedule that I hadn't already seen yet. And then last week was Taylor Swift. And we have learned what you might have seen and heard coming out of the movie theaters if you went to go see Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie. Well, it was a concert in every theater. You think the Swifties couldn't help themselves but get up off their seats and just cheer along like they're in a concert? I mean, Taylor's up there on the big screen, kind of feels like it's a live feel to it, and they're at it. I get it. And the music sounds great in there. It is a great experience for that. I mean, think about it. You want to watch that show, you're going to watch that concert as it is, and you hear that music going on in there. It's loud, it's piped on. And every time I saw some video of some theater that was showing Taylor Swift, hey, girls are out there. They got the glow sticks going on. They got the lights going on. They are just having a ball. And I'm glad they're having a ball, really. But people apparently, they had problems with this. Okay. For those that thought that you were going to go see your Exorcist Believer or you were going to go see, what was the other movie they had out there? I forget. It was a couple of horror movies. You're trying to watch Saw, the latest Saw, or whatever, and you're watching, and you're saying to yourself, man, what is going on here? I hear the Bridge of Cruel Summer. What's going on over there? I know, in the back of the truck. You're hearing that, okay? Or you're hearing whatever song she's got up there, right? Your Blank Space. Here we go. The Young and the Restless, right? You're going to hear all the hits. And those girls in high-pitched voices are going to be all at it. It's euphoric. And so I'm sure the walls in each movie theater were not thick enough to withstand the sound of Taylor Swift's movie blaring on several screens or many screens throughout the theater. I wouldn't be surprised. So you're not going to win on that. It was not going to happen. So what do we get at this concert? Okay. Hollywood Reporter. They reported that the Eras Tour ignited debate over the movie theater etiquette. You know what? This is a concert. You think people are going to just sit down and just do nothing? Listen, when I'm watching AEW wrestling, that is the complete opposite of what Taylor Swift's movie is. Okay? But I watch wrestling in a movie theater. You can watch boxing, you can watch UFC and other stuff like that. They got that over there, okay? There are other things that you watch besides a movie where you get all up and at it. But the thing is that, yeah, if it's a concert, they have concerts over there, by the way, in the movie theater, okay? I think it's Fathom Events that always runs like, certain shows, or, watch the Met, right? You want to watch classic Metropolitan Opera. You can watch that too. And you're at a concert experience in the movie theater near your house. Neighborhood movie theater gives you the same feeling of it. Awesome. And I heard people that went to the movie and to go see it. See, I'll tell you this. Probably would have been fun to go watch. I actually thought about, do I want to go get tickets over there? Well, the problem is that I'm not a concert guy. So I'm not going to be one of those people that are going to be caught up in watching Taylor Swift's movie with Swiftie fans that are all like half my age or younger, going to go see this movie. And it's treating it like a concert. I never go to concerts. I can't be one of those people that go out there to watch. Like, I'll tell you what, when it comes out and it's on digital and I can stream it, yeah, I'll probably watch it. I'll take a look at it. Absolutely. Why not? And so you got that, and I'm saying to myself, okay, the things that are being said that people were upset about, let's go into it. So right now, it is already being said that Taylor Swift The Eras Tour is already the top grossing concert film of all time domestically. And there was social media debate over the weekend surrounding etiquette for moviegoers. And there were viral posts that were going out there showing footage of Swift performing Marjorie as attendees in the movie sang, shine their phone flashlights on the seats, and dancing between the screen and the front row. Yeah. And then somebody says, I'm at the worst screening ever. The original poster captioned the video. I can't even hear Taylor. Well, you know what? If you're in Shea Stadium to watch the Beatles, you couldn't hear them either. What do you want? What do you want? Oh my goodness. So one person goes on and says, people were so disrespectful, like there were some that were actually kicked out of the room because they were being so rude. They completely ruined a lot of people's experience in there. Well, I'm only going to play this 3-second clip, which you really can't hear in music, but you can hear like what the crowd sounded like. Okay, and you see all these girls up in the front row, lights, watching the movie, and they're all up and at it and enjoying themselves. Another person told that moviegoers would be well advised to expect a concert-like experience. Quote, because as a theater experience, it's horrible. Expect dancing, standing up in chairs, screaming and singing along. She made this for her hardcore fans. Damn right. Okay, you know what this reminds me of? And it's interesting. This movie doesn't come out in theaters now these days, right? Remember that Rocky Horror Picture Show? Remember hearing about that? Rocky Horror Picture Show. Same damn concept. People will sing along, get involved, dress up, whatever, and they're into it. AMC Theaters actually responded about all this, and they said that, eras, attire, friendship bracelets, singing and dancing encouraged. And that was, this was an Instagram in late August when Swift actually put it herself about posting about the movie. And then AMC Theaters said, quote, we encourage dancing and singing throughout this concert film event, but please do not dance in our seats or block other guests from viewing, safely walking, or exiting the auditorium. Yeah, they knew it. For those of you that thought you were going to go see some quiet movie, listen, you want to go see a quiet movie this week and actually like everybody's going to be like disciplined in watching? Killers of the Flower Moon, the Scorsese movie coming out, has already come out. I already have a friend of mine that wanted to go see it, said classic Scorsese. 3.5-hour movie. I'm all in. I will watch it tomorrow night. And then Morning Consult brand analyst Ellen Briggs talked to Hollywood Reporter and said that the marketing for the Eras Tour movie, the way that Warner Brothers was similarly able to make buying a ticket to Barbie feel like an event. It wasn't just a one evening event. Let's plan cute outfits, make friendship bracelets go together. So here's what we got so far. AMC Theaters, which ran the Eras Tour movie in 3,850 theaters in North America, collected $92.8 million, $123 million for the weekend globally. Second biggest October opening weekend of all time behind Joker. Damn. That is incredible. That's something else. I'm shocked. So it did really well. There's a lot was talking about this, but everybody was saying, okay, they said that, there were, first of all, for those that wanted to go see the concert, okay, keep in mind this too. The Eras Tour physically, where people could go ahead and sing and dance and watch her in concert, those tickets were pricey. In one story here with Hollywood Reporter, they talked to Zoe King, 13-year-old girl, and her parents tried to get her tickets for her and her sister to go see her in Massachusetts last spring. But they were all sold out or like $3,000 a ticket. So when Zoe's dad, Pat, saw the concert was coming to movie theaters, snapped up Friday night seats for his family and some of the kids' friends. And Zoe dressed for the event, screening with a nod to Swift's Midnight's album in dark blue. Her younger sister painted the numbers 1989 on her cheeks. And I kept raining glitter wherever I went. I wore a shawl and, of course, bright red lipstick. Now, the movie itself played 3,855 cinemas in North America. So these were not all AMC theaters, by the way. They were also my theater as well. I know that. And then there were fans that went to go see her in concert and then saw what it looked like on the theater screen. So they make a point that at the TLC Chinese Theater in Hollywood, the 6 p.m. screening, fans danced and yelled, sang along, waved their cell phone lights, and wore outfits in tribute to Taylor Swift's different eras. One fan dressed in homage to Swift's Evermore album, carrying an illuminated globe, while another wore a cardigan reminiscent of Swift's Folklore album. And then cinematographer Daphne Daniels was watching the film after watching the concert at SoFi Stadium in LA, where if I'm correct, that's where the movie was done. That's where they filmed the movie. And she said that we're just here because of our love for Taylor, we support. And we had a good view there, but we couldn't see all the choreography. And there were others they talked to in this article. There were guidelines that were put out there. No, before you go with guidelines that were mentioned, we already mentioned those. And of course, AMC was taking advantage of this. They had merch, Swift posters, tote bags, batons, take-home drink cups, and popcorn tins. Yes, of course they had all that. And for whatever reason, people have an issue because, like I said, maybe just people are just a little bit too uptight and just don't understand and are a little bit too sensitive about things. But when you're going to go see this movie, I would have told you as a movie theater goer that it was probably going to be like that. I'm not even surprised that it was going to be like that. Not at all. So in that, we're going to go into one more thing. The Wrap actually brought up the idea that this movie might become a new model. Like, if the movie theaters really want to go and get some people back into the theaters, concert movies. So Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie success is a flash in the pan or a new model? No. Could have guaranteed. Listen, if they said it was going to be $100 million or close to it, yeah, this did it. And look, now we're going to see that more younger women are actually going to the movies because they went and saw Barbie. Like, hey, summer blockbuster stuff, right? And this right here was pretty good. So here's what you got. In the breakdown of the audience, CinemaScore said that an 80% of opening weekend attendees were female, 65% were female for the opening weekend of Barbie. And the audience was younger. 30% of moviegoers were between 25 and 34. 23% between 18 and 24. 20% under 18. That's big. That's a big chunk right there. They also took the other people at the show as well. And theater owners are hoping the diehard fandom will continue past opening weekend, giving it much welcome legs in a theatrical landscape lacking significant blockbusters. Right. Listen, there are no other movies to be had right now. I mean, holiday movie season's coming up, but the Halloween movies are controlling everything right now, and they're not necessarily great this time around, as far as I see it. Like nobody's really talking about it. And if there are any Halloween movies, there were some that came out for October 13th, right? Friday the 13th on a Friday in October and October 31st coming up. So you got a whole slew of horror movies that decided to go and drop now. I think there's 3 more coming out the 27th next week. So there you go. Now, moving along here. What about what this means for the movie theaters? Could other movies like this happen to be just as good? Now, is Taylor Swift just a phenomenon that she was able to get her movie out there and this was going to be just such a big thing? Are there any other artists that could do this? I mean, they do it for like older artists, right? But, and usually they have any movies right now that are artist driven. It's usually documentaries or whatever. Like, I know there was a David Bowie documentary this year. Talking Heads has a documentary right now coming up. There was, the movie depictions of Elvis from last year. And then I'm trying to think what else. And then Bob Marley movie will be next year, right? And they talked about like who was coming to go see the movie. The Eras Tour theatrical experience is that audience members have been encouraged to sing and dance along just as they would at a concert. Videos going viral on social media showing young girls dancing in fairy circles underneath the screen. Some comparing the response to cult-centric films like The Wicker Man and Midsummer. Try showing that at Oppenheimer. So there's more of that. Here's another clip of Taylor Swift performing Midsummer. Credits are going on and the fairy circles going on. If you watch the video, just going on with that. Now, there's another concert documentary set to come out. Let's talk about that. So, can Swift set the stage, so to speak, for a similarly large audience of fans for Beyonce's Renaissance concert documentary, which will be coming out in the theaters December 1st? And when asked about this, they talked to someone that actually specifically talks about this here. I have to go find the name because I missed who it was when they brought it up before. I'm not going to see it here, so I'm not even going to worry about it. But they talk to someone here, an expert here, that says that there should be crossover fan bases. And Beyonce's fans are going to come out no matter what. Yeah, I think we're going to get a different makeup of audience, probably. Not so much younger, because Beyonce's been out in the ether for so long, right? Going back to late 90s with Destiny's Child all the way to current day. So talk about a wider range of audience going to that movie. It'll be like, I'll put it like this. It's like, well, when you think about Barbie and the audience it brought, then there's a Little Mermaid and the audience that brought. Like I said, those are 2 movies that I saw this year. When I was in the summer movie theater season, Barbie, Little Mermaid, forget about it, man. I wasn't even going to get close to the concession. Took me 30 to 45 minutes to get through the lines, no matter what. It's been pretty nice to go ahead and have the calm of the movie theater right now when I go to concessions. It's actually been pretty good. I actually like that a lot. So there are some that are already talking about going to the movie, and some of the people they had that were going to see the Taylor Swift movie went and said they were going to probably go see the Beyonce's documentary. Now they're saying it's not a concert movie, but it's a documentary for Renaissance. But I guess it's the same idea, right? Concert documentary. Now, some people, and I'll tell you this, nobody knows. There were people that were talking here with the Rap. They said that no one knew that this movie for Beyonce was coming out in December. There's been no marketing. Nothing. Until this. This is the first time I heard about it. So imagine that. And by the way, the Renaissance screening also coming in. You waited till this year when Taylor Swift has already been out there with the concert and then a quick turnaround of the movie. That's the other thing you got to think about. Like, that was a quick turnaround. Who was working on Beyonce stuff that they didn't think of this earlier? And now they're waiting for this documentary to come in here. Unless it's just something they had to go and set up. But the Rap talked to a bunch of moviegoers that went out that were serious Taylor Swift fans, turning out thanks to their well-established fandom instead of some curiosity factor. Swift mania seemed to rule the day more than anything. The picture of whether this could set the stage for more successful concert films going forward will become clear once the second weekend box office numbers come in. Did all who wanted to see Eras Tour see it opening weekend, or was there that big of a turnout, more of a drop? We don't know. But Taylor Swift, again, credit to her genius, her marketing, her talent. Look at that. Fans will come out in the truckloads. There's a documentary I watch all the time, and it's this ITV documentary on the Hit Factory. The music producers, Stock, Aikman, and Waterman. And it's all this, pop music from the late 80s, early 90s. It's predominantly in Britain, but these are the same guys that brought us, Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round, Rick Astley, Kylie Minogue, and among others. And then the guy that was dating Kylie Minogue at the time, they keep playing this clip. It's like, they were buying them in the truckloads. Just the way he says it, Jason Donovan. If you go find it on YouTube, just go look for that. The Hit Factory, okay? It's a fun documentary. It's cool. Short, less than an hour. It's just an amazing story. But I just keep thinking of that. So Taylor Swift, congratulations. $100 million. And by the way, I don't think it's going to slow down that much. You'll see probably like any movie, 50% drop off. Or actually, maybe there will be some girls that will probably go to this movie theater again and watch the movies over and over. Because I can imagine some people want to go back to movies again and again and again. This is such a cheap ticket to go compared to $3,000 for tickets. Think about it. You're going there for what, 15, 20 bucks? That's pretty cool. So that's an interesting story altogether. Now, that is not the only musical superstar we're going to talk about in the program. Because I was going to talk about this first, but you know what? All this about Taylor Swift I had to bring up first. But yeah, Bad Bunny. Talk about another machine of popularity. I have a lot of things to say about this, but listen, every time Bad Bunny comes out with a record, okay? This guy, he put out like the Summer Jam album last year. What was it, right? And then he did the YHML. Oh, I forget the name of the album, right? But this guy, when he puts it out, the reggaeton community, okay, the Spanish listeners, of which I am. Listen, I got a lot of his songs right now on my playlist. Mega Miami, you can look for it at kingofpodcasts.com if you want to go look for it. But let me tell you, man, Bad Bunny, he is very diverse. He is the Spanish Drake. A Drake in his prime. Not the Drake now that just brought out and did For All the Dogs, and, it might just fizzle out. Let me tell you, Bad Bunny's album is going to bomb the Billboard Hot 100, and safe to say, I think it's going to probably do really well. Bad Bunny's going to come in there. He's going to destroy, and so whatever the album bomb that was Drake's going to drop off quick. About as quick as Travis Scott did. I'm telling you, or like Rod Wave, honestly. So watch out for that. But Bad Bunny has put out an album, and the album is called Nadie sabe lo que va a pasar mañana. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. And Los Angeles Times talked about it. And for whatever reason, they talk about salsa music. And they're talking about Hector Lavoe and Fania and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I don't know what they're trying to go along with this. But anyway, that Bad Bunny is basically channeling the spiritual root with his album, his fifth studio album, solo album, by the way. And it just got released last Friday. Fresh off an extended break from social media, he's now deep in his Hollywood era. The 29-year-old has pulled back the curtain, and he's letting into his head for 22 songs strictly on his terms. By the way, so this guy is not afraid to tear it up. He is dropping the T. This guy doesn't give a shit. This is an unapologetic album. And by the way, the response to this has been wonderful. I love this shit. I love it. Just for the unapologetic, just the bashing of some people in the music industry and other people that he met, that he just doesn't care. Like, I love the fact he just kind of like just is notorious. I mean, it is really good. Like, the lyrics are good. The rapping's good. The trap, the reggaeton, all the stuff he's going on with, love it. Like, he's gotten good stuff on this album. Now, anyway, at the moment, he has become a millionaire before his 30th birthday. He's moved to the Hollywood Hills. He's appeared in movies alongside Brad Pitt and Gael Garcia Bernal, and also was dating Kendall Jenner, but that's another story. So, Bad Bunny, he is basically adorning the fact of his hard-earned life of luxury. Now, he has the song like Monaco, which says a lot in there. Trophies, cars, beautiful women serve as consolation prizes for what Bad Bunny has lost in the privacy and intimacy that he once enjoyed as Benito. But he crows in the orchestral opening track, being as famous as he means. He doesn't have to answer just to anyone anymore. Definitely not the fans who monitor his dating habits, nor the girl whose phone he notably flung away from his face back in January. You know what? That was good. He actually responded to the girl in the phone when she had the phone trying to go and get a selfie. And Bad Bunny was like, oh, fuck that. Whoosh, threw it away. Yeah, good for him. Don't take any shit. I agree. Now he says, I'm not a trapper, not a reggaetonero. I'm the biggest star in the whole world. So he's, also very healthy ego. It's an attitude shift that might have completely alienated Bad Bunny's listeners had he not revived the sound that endeared him to his, all in the first place, Latin trap music. He has a lot of trap music in this. So each verse bounces nimbly after the other, like loose change in Los Pits. He rolls playfully with the effervescent synths in No Me Quiero Casar. I don't want to get married. So it's also a reflection on his marital status. So No Me Quiero Casar. Let's just put that up real quick and talk about that. So there was an issue about every album reference to an ex-girlfriend that Bad Bunny was engaged to be married to. So he has an ex-girlfriend, 29, was ex-girlfriend, it was Carlice de la Cruz, and fans seem to think that he's still caught up over her. Beautiful girl, by the way. So there's also a song called Fina, and some of the comments that are already mentioned in that song, the lyrics, they're pointing to Kendall Jenner and the relationship he had with her. And again, he's really on top of the fact he doesn't care about fame. Like he detests fame. I swear I didn't want this. He says it on the song Teléfono Nuevo. And he also is smart to work with some other artists that he's on the come up. Very popular. Faid, Young Miko. He's really got that going on over there. Now, here's the thing with Bad Bunny's ex. She was basically there on the ride to his success, his initial success. They dated between 2011 to 2016. They reportedly met while working in the same grocery store. And Benito actually proposed to her in 2016 before she called off the engagement that same year. So there's the shading he's doing in these songs. Now here's the thing. So back in March, De La Cruz filed a lawsuit against Bad Bunny, suing the singer for $40 million, alleging he used her in voice recordings without permission, and his 2022 song 2016 and his 2017 single Pa Ti. $40 million for that? Come on. So moving along with that, in the song Los Pits, he sings yesterday's newspaper, please don't bother me. Now these people sue me because they saw me in Forbes. Now you got your sound. I hope you're satisfied. Oof, he says. And then he gives the song, where there's other songs he does also talk about this as well, but we're going to leave that all there. And some of the fans are out there going ahead and talking about that he's still talking about his ex-girlfriend. He's still hung up over her. And that's it. By the way, Bad Bunny is performing and guest hosting Saturday Night Live this week. He's got that going on. So to lead up to this, you're going to see a lot of clips of Bad Bunny coming up this weekend. That's going to come up too. They're already saying that there's a thing from Daily Mail that says that he already squares off against himself in a pro wrestling style promo for Saturday Night Live. So Bad Bunny will take on his alter ego in a new promo for Saturday Night Live. And so, do we have the clip here? Can we go in here and listen to it? They don't have it here. Oh, hold on. No. They don't have it in here. See, why do you have all these clips here if I can't look at it, Daily Mail? Couldn't you do that for me? Huh? See, these guys didn't do the nice thing about this. Well, they did say it's on the NBC YouTube, so I guess I can look for that there. Hold on.
This
Here we go. This is the ring entrance or Bad Bunny entering the ring on Saturday Night Live. Here's the clip.
Saturday, Bad Bunny, host and musical guest for Saturday Night Live. How are we feeling, Benito? Nervous?
Hell no. I love being silly.
Well, that sure will come in handy. Oh, who's this entering the ring? Is it? It can't be. Oh my God! It's Bad Bunny!
Cállate que llegué yo. Well, I forgot a weekend update for you, amigo. You suck.
Shut up, ugly.
Please, you put the L in SNL. Please turn on my subtitle. Gracias. Este pendejo no sabe ni leer. What? ¿Ah, sí?
Te voy a romper la cara.
Uh-oh, it's getting crazy in here. Don't forget to tune in this Saturday. It all goes down.
That's pretty good, though. I'll give him that. So Bad Bunny's going to get a lot of press for Saturday Night Live. Obviously, Saturday Night Live needs Bad Bunny more than Bad Bunny needs them. We know that for sure. But anyway, we got that. And as for the continuation of the album, has a lot of different artists that he brings on. Eladio Carrion, Brian Myers, or if you know him, Brian Myers, right? Mora, Yongchimi, and Luad Lael. And, I mean, really, some people got on here and just got really all caught up on it. So, people are really, really big about it. Benito's lyricism devolves into petulant Drakeism on Baby Nueva, a bitter parade of vitriol aimed at an ex he swears he doesn't lose sleep over. Yani Mami Te Quiere, he spits coldly, asserting to his antagonist that not even Mommy loves you anymore. And even the unbridled hedonism described in Telefono Nuevo couldn't conceal the cursed feelings underpinning his sexual escapades. I look happy, but only in old photos. God hears me and says, wow, why does this fucker complain? And then the other things is the disses. Here we go. Nadie sabe. Bad Bunny proves that not even his peers in the music industry are safe from his ire. In the tradition of a tiradera, or a diss track, Bad Bunny takes a shot at Karol G in Vuelve Candibi, in which he pokes fun of the reappropriation of the word bichota, which stems from bichote, a Puerto Rican slang term for a high-level drug dealer. He spits, I'm from PR where the real bichotas come from. Then Bad Bunny made headlines with another one at his Oasis collaborator, J Balvin, in the Eladio Carrion assisted drill track Thunder E Lightning. And what could be construed as a dig at Balvin's readiness to concede authenticity for commercial gain, Bad Bunny raps in Spanish, you see me with the same people while you are friends with the whole world like Balvin. And Balvin was confused by it. And I don't understand what was going through his head, he says, but the guy I know is a good person. And so there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of the part of who Bad Bunny is right now and what he's talking about. Like what he is really destroying right now and everything. Now, Bad Bunny, for the credit, is making some bucks. Okay. Bad Bunny breaks the Spotify record for the most streamed album in a single day in 2023. So October 13th, Friday, was when the album was released and it went on Spotify. Now, they just said he was the most streamed. 18.5 billion streams on the platform. Wow. Most streamed artist for the 3 years in a row on Spotify. Bad Bunny. And honestly, you know, that guy just keeps up. Like, he's always got some new records that are out there, and he's continuously in the ether. He is out there in the culture and always has some song up on a chart somewhere, and people are still listening to him. Bad Bunny has 12 tracks in Spotify's Billions Club, more than any artist in the platform's history. Well, you know, part of the fact that Spotify is a very big hub for Spanish music. And by the way, I just heard this the other day on TikTok. Apple Music, iTunes fans, are you serious that Apple Music just got crossfade? It's like the iPhone. What is it about you guys with the iPhone and the inferior services they have at Apple? Seriously, I am not. Listen, Apple makes good hardware, okay? But some of the stuff that you get caught up in, like a cult, I don't get that, honestly. I'm an Android guy. I hate to say it to you, but I'm going to say it. Yeah. Spotify, when I learned they had crossfade and they had the Billboard charts on there, I bought them in 2016. I bought the service. I've never gotten rid of it. Will never get rid of it. But you're telling me that if they didn't have crossfade, by the way, I don't use Amazon Music. I never used Apple Music itself. And I forget if I tried it Pandora. I think I did. Yeah, they don't have crossfade. And because of that, I'm not interested. The crossfade works wonderfully on Spotify, and that's what I enjoy. So Spotify has my support. And also there was another, in the same clip that I listened to on TikTok, they also talked about the fact that, you know, if you're a Spotify or Apple fan, why is it based on what you're listening to? And Apple's supposed to have like better radio stations. Radio? Radio? Streaming stations? Really? I listened to Apple Beats 1 when they launched. I did. I wasn't really impressed by it because it was such a wide range. Like, they were trying to be like a little bit progressive and like kind of out there and stuff, but like it wasn't really consistent for me. I talked about it. I don't know if I talked about it on the Broadcasters podcast, but maybe I did. Or one of my podcasts. I can forget. But there's a clip in there on my YouTube channel. If you go look for it. YouTube.com at King of Podcasts, by the way. And if you need a link to it, go look for it on a website, kingofpodcasts.com. It's right there too. But yeah, I didn't really get much about that. Now, more about Bad Bunny in the setup for the Rolling Stone article talking about this. And, you know, also full of not safe for work moments and frustrations. Another classic album. Here he comes out here, and he is just piss and vinegar in this new album. And people are loving it. And honestly, you want to talk about the fan base, the rabid hardcore fan base? That is what Bad Bunny put this album out for. That's what it's for, honestly. So Rolling Stone refers to this as a return to the Latin trap from the beginning of his career when he was a kid releasing Lucy's on SoundCloud and winning fans with a rowdy, raunchy, I don't give a fuck attitude. It embraces the boldest side of that early era and punches things up with a bluster and bravado he's earned now that he's one of the biggest superstars on the planet. He grapples with the trappings of fame, takes aim at his haters, and examines how far he's come over the last 6+ years. So he comes back for that. Nadie Sabe comes in there right off the bat. And then there's, you know, the songs that are in here, but let me go and get to where the disses are. Again, we have to go into that part because that is the part that I'm really into, right? So, for one of his other lyrics in one of the songs is, Hoy me depositaron a los Grammys nominaron, otra vez me criticaron, y ninguna me importaron. That's on Monaco. So I got a deposit, a Grammy nomination. They're going to criticize me again, and I don't care. Teléfono nuevo. Mientras más alto tú estás, más bajo tú quieres ver caer la gente. The higher you are, the lower people want to see you fail or fall. And he raps that he never wanted to be an example and urges people to stop being stupid and thinking they know about the inner lives of celebrities. Tú no eres mi fan real, por eso te tire el celular. So that was the part about throwing the girl's phone. Good. And as we said, Kendall Jenner, he goes in and says, I'm going to the Spanish, I'm going to give you the translations. Okay, here we go. Todo el mundo habla, pero están de espectador se pregunta cómo nos comunicamos, mejor ni les contamos. And that's on Fina. The whole world is talking about, but they're all spectators. They ask us how we communicate. Let's just not tell them. And it seems to answer questions fans had about how Bad Bunny and Kendall Jenner communicated, since his fluency in English has been questioned and Jenner appears to speak no Spanish. Yep. And another line, he says, Bien arrebata o chingado en casa de tu hermana, really drunk and fucking at your sister's house. On social media, people jumped into lyrics and fearing that maybe Jenner and Bad Bunny may have had sex at a Kardashian house. It's all speculation. The only relationship he really talks of directly is Gabriela Berlingeri, his ex-girlfriend, thanks to several close friends, including his manager, Noah Assad, at the end of Atropellar. Gracias Dios por poner en mi camino a Gang, a Noah, a Gabriela. Thank God for putting in my path Jan and Noah and Gabriela. And that's the disses for the most part. Of course, like I said, J Balvin, we already talked about Karol G and all that. So there's more of that part. But yeah, impressive where all this is done. And by the way, not just the fact of having the album go out there, going back to old roots, dissing haters, shitting on Hollywood. I love all that. Good for him. Good for him to go out there and go like that. Again, But, we don't have that many kind of artists like that right now. There are none too right now in pop music or in just in music culture right now as big and as widespread as Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny. Very tough. Crossing barriers, crossing languages, all that good stuff. If I had to put a third major story on the Broadcasters Podcast, well, it's the actor strike. As we know last week, the writer strike was ended and they ratified the new agreement. Well, the SAG-AFTRA strike right now is hanging on the fact of a $480 million gap between actors and studios on streaming pay. So Variety talked about this. And the talks broke down last week in the studios that the gap between the two sides is too great to continue productive negotiations. And that's what they said. It's the $480 million a year is the difference between what SAG-AFTRA wants in a new streaming residual formula, $500 million, and what the Alliance of Motion Picture and TV Producers is currently willing to pay, $20 million. Okay. The two sides are at odds, including artificial intelligence, increases in minimum rates, but the vast gap of streaming residuals was the breakdown of talks. Now that we learned about that. Union leaders said they have expected to keep negotiating, but were taken by a surprise when the AMPTP walked away from the table. According to the AMPTP, the union gave the ultimatum, the actors, demanded the studios agree to its untenable proposal for a per-subscriber tax, or else the strike would continue. The WGA, by the way, won a bonus for most watched made-for-streaming shows and established the principle that successful shows on streaming should pay more. But to do that, they were willing to settle for a relatively small amount of money, $5 million a year at the outset, according to sources. SAG-AFTRA wants more. They want each streaming platform to pay 57 cents per subscriber per year. Chief negotiator Duncan Crabtree Island says that the sum amounts to less than a postage stamp per subscriber. It would go into a jointly administered fund. The trustees of the fund would distribute it to actors whose projects appear on the platforms. The union said the funds would be presumably low allocated based on the viewership of each of the shows. So that's the part of that part. But now, when the streamers were all complaining about it, Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos said it would cost 4 to 5 times as much to apply that to provisions to the actors. Now, here's the part that's really interesting. So, the SAG-AFTRA folks, they're getting support from their own fellow actors, the highest paid top earning actors. So, to end the actors' strike stalemate, there are Hollywood's biggest actors, biggest stars now offering to kick in $150 million. So, a good chunk of that $400 million, or $500 million almost. There was a Zoom call on Tuesday to figure out how to end the actor strike, and a group of Hollywood's biggest stars laid out the SAG-AFTRA leaders a groundbreaking proposal that amounts to the town's biggest earners defraying the cost to AMPTP signatories, eliminating the cap on membership dues to be used to bolster health benefits and other areas that SAG-AFTRA is trying to shore up. So the offer would remove the $1 million cap on membership dues, an effort to bring the residual system to streaming, and the stars proposed a formula that would make the lowest names on the call sheet, who need the most money, the first to be paid. The stars that are included in this deal include George Clooney, Emma Stone, Ben Affleck, Tyler Perry, and Scarlett Johansson. They all met with SAG leaders, and Deadline talked to George Clooney, and he said this to them, quote, "A lot of the top earners want to be part of the solution. We've offered to remove the cap on dues, which would bring over $50 million to the union annually. Well, over $150 million over the next 3 years. We think it's fair for us to pay more into the union. We're also suggesting a bottom-up residual structure, and these negotiations will be ongoing, but we wanted to show that we're all in this together and find ways to help close the gap on actors getting paid. You know why? Because they're getting hurt by the fact that they can't get back out to work. They have to keep things going. So they'll take some of their money they've already made to keep the actors out there and to get the strike done so they can go ahead and work. So for them, it's a drop in the well. $50 million a year among all these actors to do that? Yeah. Kicking back, that's a very good sign of them to, camaraderie. Unity among their fellow actors. So I can't complain about that. That's actually kind of nice. They probably could afford more, but, the streamers should actually be cutting in here as well. Just saying. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if we get anything more coming out of this, but it's a nice gesture. But it's being talked about. Let's see what happens. Now, Ted Sarandos actually talked to The Wrap and defended the strategy of theatrical release. Now, let me tell you this. So we know that Amazon has been putting movies out in theaters before it goes to the streaming service, right? They've been doing that for a little bit. Apple and their films, Killers of the Flower Moon, is initially an Apple movie, produced by Apple. So now they're here, and they're going to go ahead and put the movie on theaters with a window, and then it goes to Apple TV Plus. So Netflix, which, by the way, they're bringing their prices up again. I think, what is it now? $15.99 for the ad-supported version of Netflix, and $22.99 for the HD full blast, no commercial version of Netflix. It's getting pretty expensive for Netflix, isn't it? So Ted Sarandos spoke at the Bloomberg Screen Time Conference, and he says, quote, why don't you do things like everyone else does? And then he said, I look at the financial results and say, oh, maybe this isn't what other people want. Now, Sarandos has defended what is quickly a minority viewpoint within the industry. Amazon and Apple reportedly plan to invest $1 billion per year in theatrically bound feature films. We've already talked about that here on the program. Legacy studios like Disney and Universal have mostly but not entirely ceased day-and-date releases or sending theatrically intended movies to streaming platforms. Netflix now mostly stands alone in terms of releasing big-deal movies without theatrical release or with a minimal pre-streaming engagement. He says here, quote, the films don't tend to be bigger just because they were big in the box office. You just created a different window of demand generation. We met the demand. That demand we generate on Netflix. That's our core business. He noted that Martin Scorsese, The Irishman, got a 900 theater release in late 2019, eventually received 10 Academy Award nominations while becoming at the time one of Netflix's most watched titles. By the way, I think it was only out for like 2 weeks or a week. Netflix's reluctance to embrace theatricality for its feature films threatens to become a point of contention. It's already a talking point in terms of generating revenue and chasing award season glory. Going direct to consumer makes at least some sense when your membership base is as big as Netflix's. Now, their base often watches whatever happens to be heavily promoted. Rivals like Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus are mostly betting on intellectual property and established franchises for big streaming figures. Netflix could take a movie star like Ryan Reynolds or Sandra Bullock and put them in a high concept picture and grab comparatively massive viewership. Now, Sarandos goes on to say, theoretically, you have to put movies into theaters for some stretch of time before you give it to your subscribers who paid to make the movie right with their subscription fee. I don't think the real payoff is in the favor of the consumer. And I understand that argument. He noted global streaming releases give Netflix's subscriber base instant opening day access to the kind of films that in a traditional system might have performed theatrically or in some cases never made it past the art house before arriving on VOD, DVD, and streaming. And I'm still at the point where I think some movies that Netflix puts out should at least have some kind of a window. I still think of Knives Out 2. It was a great movie. It was really good for Netflix, really quality movie. And I'm glad they put it out in the theaters. And I got to watch that for the week. It was really good. And I think they should keep doing that, personally. Okay, a couple more things. We're going to wrap things up. Billboard put out a list of the top 500 best pop songs. So they went to the chart and they celebrate the generation's worth of great pop songs. They counted down their staff picks for the 500 best pop songs in the chart's lifespan. Now, in this, they determined the catchiest, tightest, hookiest, most immediately memorable songs that have taken our lives for the past 6.5 decades. The only hard rule to qualify was the song must have appeared on the Hot 100. And then all this week, they kept announcing who the top 500 songs were. I'm going to just go into the Hot 100, the 100 top pop song hits, and just see what we got in here as in terms of what they have. So they go across the board, by the way. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, a perennial Christmas favorite, number 97. And some of the songs they put in here that are really interesting. The Killer's Mr. Brightside is number 90. Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor, the late Sinead O'Connor, number 87. And I'm just looking at the songs they have here. Despacito is number 84, one of the longest running Hot 100 hits ever. Human League's Don't You Want Me, 82. We move along here. Aaliyah's Are You That Somebody is number 80. Blinding Lights, The Weeknd is 79. Smooth Operator, Sade is 78. Keep moving down. Olivia Rodrigo's Driver's License, 72. More Money, More Problems was number 69. It's quite a list of songs they put in here that are really, really strong. Like, you know, it would be interesting to try to hear all these songs in one shot and what people would think about it. Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You, not the first time she'll be on this chart, but she's number 60 for that song. Like, the songs they put on this list are quite perennial. They're big songs. California Dreamin', Mamas and Papas, 52. And I'm looking through here. Let's get ourselves all the way down to the top 10 and see where they go in this part overall. And they did a good job of the list, by the way. It's really cool to go and see all that they got in here. Your top 10, starting off with number 10. It's the Beatles and I Want to Hold Your Hand. Number 9, Tupac featuring Dr. Dre, California Love featuring Roger Troutman, which should be included in that. Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe is number 8. Peaked in the Hot 100 in June of 2012. Interesting. I probably wouldn't have put that in top 10. Not me anyway. Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. Well, you could have picked a lot of songs on Thriller that could have probably been up there. Beat It could have been up there, right there as well. And Thriller, if you wanted to put that. Madonna, Like a Prayer is number 6. Kelly Clarkson's Since You Be Gone, number 5. Charted at number 2, April 2005. Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, number 4. The Temptations, My Girl, number 1, 1965, is number 3 on this chart. Number 2, ABBA, Dancing Queen, number 1 song in April of 1977. Number 1 song, 1987. The real breakout hit for Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me. Number 1 song. And you know, when I think about it, I don't think anyone's going to really dispute too much about the fact that the song might be up here. You could dispute other songs being up that high, but for that to be a number 1 song, that was a number 1 song that they put here at this spot, yeah, that's pretty commendable. I'll give them that. Top best pop songs of all time. Quite a list. All right, a couple of things I want to wrap up with. There was a study by ACAST, A-C-A-S-T. You know, they do a lot of work with podcasting. They put out results of a new research study, and they show that podcasts are a highly trusted medium among U.S. consumers. So, yes, media. Most trusted media personalities. So more than what? Cable news? Is that what I'm talking about? More than, you know, all that? Interesting. Half of podcast listeners trust podcasters, the most of any other tested medium. Second most trusted is YouTubers. 44% of YouTube consumers say they trust these media personalities. And they also talk about for advertisers, podcasting is right with opportunity. U.S. consumers say they seek out podcasters above all their media personality types when looking for product endorsements. 75% of podcast listeners say they have listened to a podcaster for a product endorsement, compared to 62% for social media users who have sought out social media creators, and 55% cable viewers who have considered cable TV personalities. Podcasting has trust in media. How about that? I'm surprised. I like that. All right, I'm going to wrap things up with a Fred Jacobs article. Talking about when it comes to radio. Radio broadcasters have a number of different things that they're facing dilemmas with. Let's talk to a radio broadcaster. What are the ongoing issues they're dealing with? They could say AM and cars, streaming versus broadcast, to podcast or not to podcast, sales versus programming, the future of Nielsen ratings, and what effect will AOI have on radio. But they don't have an answer for Generation Z. for teens to be involved or listen to radio. The common excuses that are being talked about with comes to why radio doesn't care about Gen Z. One is, even if there was decent content, Gen Z is all about their phones, not radio. Gen Z thinks radio stations are lame. Gen Z don't even know what a radio is. Okay. But then Fred Jacobs makes a very good point. He refers to the game Grand Theft Auto, the video game. Since it was first released, it's the most successful franchise originating from the UK. 405 million copies, Grand Theft Auto 5, the second best-selling game in history with 185 million units shipped. Its strongest age appeal, 14 to 25-year-olds. And one of the key features of the game, GTA's radio stations. Yes. A couple weeks ago, an online game site, Game Rant, rated the best radio stations in GTA 5. And here's the highlights of the story. GTA 5 is a fantastic soundtrack with radio stations that offer a wide variety of music genres, making it appealing to all players. These stations feature real songs, hilarious radio hosts, and commercials that add to the game's signature irreverent tone. The best stations on there are West Coast Classics, Los Santos Rock Radio, and Radio Mirror Park, offering high-quality music that enhances the gameplay experience. So Fred Jacobs makes the point, quote, I get the sense that GTA players get to know a good radio station when they hear one. The ones in the game feature all the traditional topics you'd expect from a well-programmed broadcast radio station. Rather than over the air, they're embedded in the game. And when you listen to it, the songs in here are kind of like a classic rock station. So Los Santos Rock Radio, made up of classic rock songs that are likely nostalgic to many players, but the station was solid to begin with. The update came with Xbox One and PS5 ports. They had songs like Danger Zone, Carry On Wayward Son, and Roundabout, giving it possibly the biggest upgrade of any station in the game. It's the perfect radio station to play before or during a big action scene. And they make the point here that classic rock, the format on broadcast radio, has a larger audience under 40 than you logically think, considering when these songs were released. But since the advent of the iPod, there have been constantly time shifting when listening to music, era, and genre hopping from Neil Diamond to Drake. It matters less when a song came out, it's whether they like it. Think about it. How many times do we see merch out there? I mean, Nirvana shirts are being worn like it's like some brand. I don't even know what the artist is. If it's not that, it's Poison. If it's not that, it's Rolling Stones. If it's not that, it's Beatles. Like it is. The Doors, whatever. DJs who add to the presentation, commercial content, and an attitude or point of view geared to the demographic being targeted. That's what GTA does. Isn't that radio programming 101? And they talk about the fact that, like, a teenager is not easy to be one. A recent story insiders say that teens are experiencing roadblocks and many people making friends. They say Gen Z loneliness is so bad that some young adults are spending thousands trying to make friends through gym memberships and social clubs. So radio is just like a companion. That's what radio was for me. It was always that best friend. Like, you listen to the DJs that are on there. They're friends of yours. They're playing your favorite music, all that stuff. That's what the way it was. And it makes sense here. And then the change was why radio changed to where it was. When they started focusing more on older demographics, 25 to 54-year-olds, they said that they learned that adult listeners were more likely to be sitting around the TV at night, not listening to radio. So why bother with night shows, personalities, and DJs after dark, which has gone by the wayside since 2000. So a self-fulfilling prophecy for sorts of radio programming was cemented in place. The absence of live talent or any talent during the night hours coincided with the abandonment of radio by teens in its once fertile day part. A voice track jock isn't going to change that, and don't look to AI to rescue radio at night. Firing off weather, promos, and things to do this weekend from a bot cannot replace a genuine human emotional connection between on-air talent and listeners looking to escape, to be inspired, comforted, or just to laugh. There's an intimacy to radio that no other medium has. We often think about it in cars, especially when we're just a driver and a radio DJ or host. In the rooms of teens, Gen Zs, the potential exists to spawn a relationship between a young consumer looking for something different and a beleaguered industry trying desperately to do something, anything the least bit innovative and attention-getting. Young audience, adapting and adopting new listeners. GTA does it. We do a damn good job of it. Radio could give that same sense when they're not playing the game. But nobody's thinking about that. No surprise there. All right, that's the show for tonight. Thank you all for listening in, as you always do. Thankful for 300 episodes of the Broadcasters Podcast. Thank you for listening, as you always do every week. I really do appreciate it. And with all that, look for me on social media. You'll find clips of the show if you've got a little taste of what you're missing. Go and look for it. TikTok, Instagram, Trends, X, Facebook, it's all there. LinkedIn as well. kingofpodcasts.com is where everything is, yours truly. And until next week, remember that content is king. And the control of your content is in your hands.